What's up, everybody? Shawn here with another Live to Roll. Um, Hanging out today. We got an awesome friend Toby going to be talking about his work in Hollywood and a new movie coming out. So please drop any comments, questions you guys have in the chat. We love to hear them, love to know, and want you to be part of the conversation. So yeah, I'm Shawn. I'm a C5, C6 quadriplegic from a snowboarding accident 20 years ago now. Bobby, you want to give an intro, and we'll let Toby take the stage.
Not a problem. I just see in the chat real quick. I just shout out to you, Andrew. Sorry you're still in the hospital. It's been like a month for you. So hopefully you'll get to go home soon. And sorry to hear you had another little bump in the road. Never fun. Get well, Andrew, real quick. Um, I'm Bobby Rohan, C5, C6, Southern California here. And hope everyone's doing well out there. And I am excited for today because we have a really good guest today, a personal friend, foe, and I just love him to death. And take it away, Toby. Introduce yourself, please.
All right. I'm Tobias Forrest, aka Toby, aka Sidecar, because Wheels has been taken by 1,000 people. No, I'm just joking.
Oh, that is great.
Not a bad one, actually.
Sidecar? Yeah, that one I go with, and then I go with one item shopping cart.
That's nice.
But I'm a C5 quad, been hurt for, over 25 plus years, I think, at this point. My injury was in 1998 on Memorial Day, 1998. I was in the Grand Canyon. I was diving off of the side of a waterfall there, and I got bad depth perception, so I dove into some shallow water. I got tendency to look at the glass half full. Did some drowning and some dying, and they're not ready for my sense of humor, or they're not ready for my sense of humor. But yeah, I did some drowning, some dying. Very fortunate. A doctor was on vacation and helped reset my neck and helped resuscitate me and bring me back to life. And tons of people helped bring my body from one end of the waterfall across to the other, where I kind of sat for several hours waiting for a helicopter. Fortunately was saved through the efforts of many strangers and a couple friends, and have met many other strangers and made some great friends like you two guys along the way since I've been a roller. And here I am, living to roll with Bobby and Shawn. Thanks for having me.
Tobias, but I'm going to still always call you Toby in my eyes because that's how I've always known you. Definitely you don't age, so congratulations on that.
I know.
And you got to tell me, you are looking like the gentleman. It's a movie, so
I know what you're thinking. I'm looking like the guy in the wheelchair, right? The guy in the wheelchair, Bryan Cranston.
Nope.
Bryan
Nope.
Cranston.
Yeah, far from it, though.
I know. Wait, Eddie Redmayne. I look like Eddie Redmayne. No.
Was he in that? No. The movie was where they hijacked the president's plane with Harrison Forrest. You looked like the main bad guy.
I'll take it.
Yeah, he's a good actor.
I could be the main bad guy.
Yeah, I know you could.
That's what I want. I want to be the main
evil
bad
villains
guy.
are always in like wheelchairs and stuff. I feel like
exactly.
I do make the joke that in the entertainment industry, well, one, a lot of parts go to people that are not necessarily in chairs, but the wheelchair is used often as like a tool, right, to make us either empathize the character or fear the character or see the character in some kind of like other light, right? But it's always like a tool as opposed to just being a circumstance, which is what it really is. It's a circumstance in our lives.
Yeah.
So hopefully, I have a chance to make up for a couple of the wrongs done by Hollywood with misrepresentation, things like that. But yeah, I'll take that, Bobby. I would like to be the bad guy.
No, I know. And Andrew helped me out. Air Force One was the movie.
Yeah.
Great little movie. But, um, for anybody that doesn't know, Toby has been on our show. He's an actor. He well represents our disabled population in the industry. And
Last time we had the great Danny Gomez on.
Yeah.
He and
the,
I together like
yes,
twinsies.
I want to say maybe 2.5 years ago. It's been a
One of our
while.
earlier shows. Yeah, that was one of the early ones we did,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
was, and it was cool. And like, I do want to have Danny back on as well. But this time we just wanted to make sure highlight Toby and the new movies and stuff. And Danny's doing a bunch of stuff too, though. I know he had a TV
Killing it.
spot for a while. So yeah, I know. But you guys are both pretty successful actors. I feel like I
It's
mean,
I'll be honest, it's a very lucky time for us, and like for instance, we were both in New York at the same time doing different projects, um, and that's a great sign in the sense that there is work, there's opportunities out there. They are few and far between, and I've been at it for 20 years, and Danny's been at it for many years as well, and you just kind of roll with the punches, and you find a great metaphor. It's how I get through life, honestly, is great metaphors for acting. I use surfing, which anybody can get in the water. You just got to paddle out there and wait for a wave of opportunity. If someone else gets it, you let them ride it, and when you do, you just enjoy it for as long as you can, and ride as long as you can. And when that wave breaks, you paddle back out and wait again, and hopefully catch another one and become better at surfing, and then move on to a bigger, better break where there's even better surfers, and it's just that process. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. So, you explain what happened, but let's go back for those who don't know, in the sense of you from our previous show, and also tell us, like, were you trying to be an actor before your injury, after? So how did this all come about? So if you want to give us your 5-minute little intro
So,
of,
my
of
2 minute commercial.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I was born in San Francisco, and lived in basically the Bay. My parents were pretty much hippies to the core, and we lived on a boat. So I was already born into an adventurous life, kind of. And when I was 2, we got onto a big barge and went to Hawaii, and I grew up in Maui. So I was used to doing dangerous things. I mean, I was climbing trees and jumping off cliffs and swimming in the ocean and surfing when I was just a kid. And unfortunately, lost my parents at a young age. But my sister and I were adopted by my aunt and uncle, who were just fantastic. Brought us in, and I have cousins that became my brother and sister. And my parents, or my aunt and uncle, became my adoptive parents and became my mom and dad. And so um, really just had a full transformation already in my life at a young age, right? So I was used to to changing and adapting, and was a gymnast growing up, and also just loved doing any extreme sport I could. Went to Valley Forge Military Academy, and graduated there, and went to Northern Arizona University because I could get a full ski season, and it was a nice small mountain where there wasn't a lot of competition, and had great backcountry. Had great backcountry, guys, and also rock climbing in the summers, and just tons of everything I love, which is the outdoors and extreme sports and rock climbing, and so I was not an actor. I was a musician. I kind of found music when I was in high school. I was in the choir. I would fake sing, and then when I was in college, I ended up joining a friend's band, and then was in a band through college, and that's kind of felt performance in my life. Um, Ended up graduating, and I was a jeweler at the time. I was a jewelry major, and I was going to move to Colorado, to Aspen, so I could rob all the rich people with my jewelry and get a full ski season and do rock climbing and more extreme sports. And I decided to go to the Grand Canyon one last time. I was at Havasupai Falls with friends, and had my accident. And it was one of those things where at first I was like, no, I don't need to jump off that. I don't need to. I'm fine. Blah 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 blah. And just through timing and my own um, sort of choice, I dove in and shattered the fifth vertebrae and did some drowning and some dying, like I kind of told you guys. In hindsight, after my injury, I realized that I was already walking around with a spinal cord injury and didn't know it. Years before, I had had a gymnastics accident, and I was doing giants on the bar, and I lost control, and I went down head first, and couldn't move for 5 minutes. And then, it's gymnastics in the 90s. It's just like, all right, you done? Get back up there and do it again. So you get back up and you do it again, and never got checked out. But I always had, like, if I put my head in just the right place, I would almost knock myself out with nerve pain. And so only understanding spinal cord injury years later did I go, oh, I was walking around probably with a spinal cord injury.
Yeah, I
And
can.
how many people walk around with spinal cord injuries and don't necessarily even know it?
Actually, Toby, I'll give you this little tidbit real quick. My dad had the same thing in a football injury on the beach where he couldn't move for 5 minutes. And luckily, he didn't dive into something where uh, he was paralyzed, but he was getting numbness at his age in his 30s. I think he was actually 30 and I was 9 years old. Went to a chiropractor, thought like, I'm getting some numbness in my arms. And, before I work on you, let's do some x-rays like a good chiropractor should. And said, I can't work on you. It looks like you have a broken neck. You need to go see a neuro doctor. And found out that his C1-2 was broken. So luckily, he was able to get the surgery. He had a halo. 9 years later, I break my neck, and I get my halo put on the same day that my dad had his put on, 9 years apart.
Crazy,
except,
right?
Yeah, and except I'm like, okay, I'll be walking like my dad. It wasn't the same.
Little do we know. Little,
Exactly.
right? And ironically enough, I have amazing parents. Like, I just got off the phone with my mom, and I have such supportive, loving parents. And my dad, ironically, owned a company that helped develop spinal implants. It's called
Right.
Danik Medical. Yeah, I might have told you guys last time. So I grew
Yeah.
up watching spinal cord surgeries, ironically enough. And the piece that's in my neck is one that he had helped be a part of many, many years before.
I remember.
So yeah, he's kind of, if you go down in the history of spinal cord uh, uh, medical devices and implants and things like that, my dad, Alan Olson, is a pioneer in that industry. So when I was already involved with the Miami project 2-3 years before I was even hurt.
That's cool.
So yeah,
And he invented, was he the one that did the locomotive? Or
yeah. So he also had a company called Robomedica that was really instrumental in robotic, assisted walking. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
It,
but anyways, that's how I ended up coming out to LA. After I had gotten hurt, I moved to Florida, did my rehab there, was on life support for a couple months, just trying to breathe again, and finally got off that after about, I think, 2.5 months on being in ICU. and then was able to go to rehab after that, and then outpatient, and realized that I got dish rag hands now. You feel me? I got those quad paws,
Yeah.
and jewelry was not really an option. So I started painting for a bit, decided I didn't want to be a lonely painter, and went back to school and got a master's in psychology. We were talking a little bit before. I had to portray someone with Alzheimer's, which I did, and then afterwards my class was like, "How come you're not an actor?" And then I had a chance after I graduated to move to UCLA and do research in a walking program there using robot technology.
That,
And my great friend Danny Murphy, who is up there entertaining everybody, it was a fantastic actor, also a quad, and great friends with the Farrelly brothers. And he told me I should try out for this Christopher Reeve audition. I had no experience, but I had the old man with Alzheimer's monologue that I wrote, and went in and ended up winning the award, and it was presented to me by Christopher Reeve, and totally changed my life, put me on a new trajectory. And I said, let me follow acting and see what that does. And then just last year, won the very first Christopher Reeve Acting Award at the Media Access Awards for
yeah.
my portrayal in Daruma, which Daruma is yay, I love that. And yeah, so very excited about that. I know that Shawn's already done the due diligence and put some great stuff down there about Daruma and out there. Um, and yeah, if you guys have any questions about that,
Yeah, that's
you
what I
know,
was say. Let's get into talking about the movie. Real quick though, I want to ask because you brought that up, and I was trying to think. I was like, when did I meet Toby? I think I met you at the Locomotion Project because I did that, and I remember meeting Dan, and I was starstruck because I was like, dude, like Kingpin and stuff. Like I remember him like I'm like, dude, like that's the dude, like that's the dude in the
that's the
Fairley Brothers
guy.
movies, and like I remember, and then that is I'm pretty sure where I met you too, early on after my injury. Um, was yeah at that Locomotion program. I feel like that was where because I was going there. Mike DeYoung was doing it too, and yeah, like
I mean,
that's
listen,
awesome.
I was blessed that I came home from the hospital, and the first guy I met in the chair was Danny Murphy.
That's so cool.
Um, I mean, what a blessing that is. And, he
I,
became my friend and my mentor.
I have one memory that I will never forget in a movie because of Danny. And if you can, you might even know Toby because I can sort of see you smiling. He
Something
has the
about
best line, and it's in uh, something about Mary.
uh-huh. Where he goes, this thing's heavy.
And
And
he
he
goes,
goes,
I went, what? So what's the line? I mean, what? I can't remember off the
so Ben
top.
Stiller says, this is heavy. And Danny goes, heavy? What I wouldn't give to know what heavy feels like.
Yeah, there you go.
Or something like that. And then
I
he
knew.
rolls off and he goes, how's my driving? Call 1-800 eat shit.
Yeah, on the back of his chair. I knew I wasn't going to do justice to that line because it was such a classic. I mean, he
Yeah.
was great.
Well,
Yeah,
this is a full circle moment because Peter Farrelly actually came to the premiere of Daruma when we screened it at Dances with Films last year. And he was so impressed with the film that he came on as our executive producer, and said, hey, let's try and get this movie out there and I'll help support you guys. So, what you guys are doing is great because you're helping us give it to the community that deserves it, right? I mean, we all deserve to see authentic representations of ourselves, and I love getting paid to play a guy in a wheelchair.
no,
So
that's no, that's really cool. So that's what. Let's get into the little bit. You want to talk about the movie itself, or yeah, how you got involved in it, and then we'll because like you said
yeah,
before, I do have links for the website. There's a watch party coming up for the trailer, but we'll let Toby kind of tell you about all that.
you guys are amazing. But the film is obviously it's close to my heart because I'm in it, but for several reasons. My friend John Lawson, he's a fantastic actor, double arm amputee. we help each other with auditions all the time. So if I got an audition, I might have to call one of you guys and be like, "Hey, come be the other person." And so we'll do that for each other. And John's right there. You can see him in the poster. He's that beautiful man with the hook for a hand, and so I'm helping him with his audition. He says, you should do the other part. I said, it's your audition. I'm not going to do it. He says, no, do it. I said, no, it's a paraplegic. I can't do any of the stuff that they want. Do it anyways. I don't know the words, and I'll tape them to my forehead. So we taped them to his forehead, whatever. I don't remember what we did, but I did the audition, and we both get called back, and we both get the job. So we make a short promo and put that out into the world, and then few years later, Kelly, the amazing writer and producer, and her husband, the director Alex, came to us and said, "Hey, we're ready to make the movie." And then the pandemic hit, and we were like, "We're going to make this movie. I guess we're going to have to do it." And so we did, despite all the odds. And in 15 days, with little to no budget, and a lot of people just blood, sweat, and tearing it, this movie was able to be made. And like, if you look at it, it is a testament to a number of things. One, the tenacity of Kelly to chase this thing for so many years and to manifest it and make it happen. And also that she and Alex were insistent that it was authentically cast, right? So they've been offered by Hollywood, "Oh yeah, we'll take the movie. What famous people are we going to put in the movie as these two actors?" They said, "No, we want to get a guy in a wheelchair and a guy without arms." We don't need to green screen that stuff.
You don't need Lieutenant Dan? You didn't need Lieutenant Dan?
No, there was no. I mean, we saved them some green gloves and probably $1 million in CGI, and I brought a wheelchair. So those things. Yeah, the beautiful thing for me is this: that I kept saying no to this movie, guys. Like, that's it. I did not want to ruin their movie. And I knew it was important. I knew it was going to be money and time and all these things, but I've auditioned so many times for paraplegic written roles and just can't physically do what they're asking. And I told Kelly and Alex, "Hey, listen, I don't want to ruin your movie. Like, I can't transfer in and out of a car, or in and out of a bed. Like, I don't have the triceps, and like, I don't have that. Like, I'm not built for it, and can do some of it for sure." And they said, "We don't care about any of that. Like, we're not trying to film a movie about like this guy's disability. It's not about what you can do. It's about what you can feel, right? And we feel that you can represent it." And so through the magic of cinema and all of everything, they're able to make me a way more able-bodied character than I ever would be. Meanwhile, Hollywood is spending millions and millions of dollars to have somebody digitally disabled. And it's inauthentic, and you guys watch it and you're like, "That's not even real. He's not even on a cushion. Well, why do they digitally shrink his legs?" Like, all of the above, and we're sitting here having an armchair quarterback these movies because of the representation and the inauthenticity. And they were so committed to it that they stuck it out. And John and I are now able to have this great experience and thing on our resume that will hopefully bring us to the next project, to the next wave of opportunity.
Yeah. Quick question. It's two-parter in the sense of how frustrating is it to go to audition for somebody who might be paraplegic, and you kind of know it, but you're going to do it anyway, which I congratulate you on, that you're going to give it your all. And anybody who's out there, don't give up. Even if it's not the right part for you, you're still going to try. So how frustrating it can be for that. And then how frustrating is to see, when we see somebody that is CGI, that we know, but nobody else does. So
Yeah.
you mentioned, not to say it was bad, and I understand Hollywood, is going to do Bryan Cranston for a certain role, but how frustrating is that?
I mean, of course it's frustrating because you want the opportunity to do it, right? Or at least to be considered. And I think you pointed out something very important, Robbie. And you, Bobby, you pointed out to everybody and you said, go out there and do it. And that's exactly it. You
Mm,
have to get out in that water, paddle out there. Even if you have no experience, you might find out that this is something you love. And you might be able to tell a story that no one else can. And you got a voice that no one else can. So get in there and, shake up the water.
yeah,
But it's it's frustrating if they don't even come to you, right? If it's not even a consideration, if it's just an assumption. So I have to like adapt around it. So, like for instance, I had a role where the character puts on a rubber glove and reaches into a trash can and pulls out a bloody sweater. And I was like, oh, I can't do that, right? So I
right.
got the part, and I knew it might be an issue. So I went to the director. I said, hey, I don't think my character would do this. It's the only time I've ever done this. Because I was like, I can't do this. Like, I don't think my character would do this. I think my character would have a device that he pulls out and he whips it out and he pulls the trash can over and lifts up the sweater so he doesn't even get his DNA near it. And the director's like, oh, I love that. Right? And so he was like, what do you think it would be? And I was like, I don't know. Let me think about it. So I came back to the director. I talked to the props department. They came up with their idea. And then I brought him this, right? Oh my God, it's a blind cane, right? But anyone who's a quad at home, go buy yourself a folding blind cane, put a hook on the end of it. You can grab anything you want. All right? I mean, it's way up there, go get it. It's way down there, go get it. Pick it up with the blind man's cane and the $1 hook right there. And that's what I did for my character. And we did it in the scene, and that's what my character ended up doing. So
Awesome.
just
There,
had to adapt and kind of work my way around that. But I mean, I can't blame necessarily the writers or Hollywood because it's what we've essentially been trained to do,
yeah,
right? Is to, one, we have to maybe probably kill this disabled character. We're probably going to need a name to bring people in to watch this disabled character. Right? And just the thought isn't put into like, hey, maybe if we got a disabled person, we don't have to worry about a number of things. Like they'll bring authenticity, essentially their own consultant. They might even bring a wheelchair. And so to see it go directly to somebody and not even be brought in and go, hey, let me at least take a swing at this ball.
yeah,
And then you can consider it. Like that's the frustrating part. Because I am a big firm believer in authentic casting. And I think you should, if you're gonna cast someone to play Muhammad Ali, I kind of want them to look like Muhammad Ali. I kind of want them to have a boxing background. I kind of want them to have as much of Muhammad Ali as possible in them already, to a degree. So yeah,
yeah.
we'll see. It's hopefully changing. The worst part is that sometimes it does feel that you're brought in just to say that you were brought in. Right.
Uh,
Well, we did open it up to people with disabilities, but we just didn't find what we're looking for. Um, and ultimately, I do believe in the story. If you can tell the story, and this is the only person that's going to help you fulfill this story off like to its best degree, then by all means, let's go with that person.
Tell us a little bit about this drama movie.
So yeah, I like that you said drama, and it's Daruma. So close.
Sorry,
No, it's great because it is a drama, but it's
Daruma.
really funny because that's how Kelly had written it, right? As a drama, and her husband Alex read it and started laughing. And she was like, "What are you laughing at?" And he's like, "This script is hilarious." And so he helped her realize that, like, oh, there's more layers to this thing, right? And it is this comedy, drama, road trip, buddy, family movie. So there's a little bit for everyone. Essentially, I play a guy who I don't want to give too much away. I play a guy with a disability who
Oh,
claims.
you ruined the movie.
Oh,
Oh,
I know.
all
I
right.
play a guy that was in an accident in a wheelchair, uh, is a veteran, and finds out that he has a daughter from a relationship that he didn't know about. He knew about the relationship, he didn't know about the daughter. Uh, I don't even remember that relationship, but
that
so she shows up. He finds out he'll get some money if he takes in the daughter, and realizes he's a horrible dad. And it's not because he's got a disability; it's because he's just a horrible guy, you know. And has to ask his neighbor, who's a double arm veteran, to drive him and the young girl cross country, so he can essentially drop her off with her grandparents on the other side of the country. And it becomes this story about two sort of embittered guys, and this young girl on a journey towards discovering that, fatherhood is really one of the most important gifts in life, and the opportunity to be a father and to be a good one is rare, but it's never too late to make that change, right? And so it becomes about fatherhood and friendship and the journey. And although it's a film that stars two guys with disabilities, it really is not about disability at all. That just sort of is part of the landscape and disappears before you know it.
That's great. I was just about to ask
cool.
you. So it sounds like you're not really wanting to bring in the disabled part, but by just by human nature, some of us are disabled, and some of us have a kid
Yeah,
that we might not know of many years later after our disability, or even during our disability. And then, especially back in Vietnam, we all know the uh, uh, born on the 4th of July, COVID, wrong COVID. And he, was a drunk, and you came back and you were not well representative because you were a Vietnam vet. And so you had a lot of blackout nights, but it's great to hear that it's not really about the chair. It's, or the arms, or whatever. It's about human nature of,
yeah.
hey, oh, I'm a father. I didn't think I could be, but I guess I am.
And I think you kind of struck on something. It's not about the chair, right? Because only once we're in this community and you're deep into it do you realize, like, no one's really like, the chair has driven me to hatred. It's the circumstances of life that are the true challenges, right? It's not necessarily the fact that I got to get up and get into my chair in the morning that, you know, dissuades me from enjoying life. And you find out that, although this is an aspect of us, it doesn't define us in real life, and it definitely shouldn't define us on screen or in stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I thought was so cool about it when I first saw it. Me and Lee were talking about it, looking stuff up, and yeah, it's just cool, man. I'm really happy for you and the movie, and I hope it does well. There is, I was going to mention also at the end, but there is a virtual watch party for the trailer, and you can sign up in the link with in the description below. We're going to
That's right.
watch it.
There's
So,
gifts, there's giveaways, and the film is going to the trailer drops on the 8th. They will have a watch party for that, and we'll have hopefully a good special surprise guest, to help us with that.
Nice.
And the film will be out November 15th, and it's going to be in a number of different cities. We're going to have a big opening night in Chicago, and then go to a number of other cities. But the film will be at the Lemley in Glendale, November 15th. And then on the 21st, we'll have a big closing night ceremony there. And yeah, it's really, really exciting because now we get to put it out into the world and see what the world can hopefully do to help us spread the word.
Yeah. We have two members of our Live to Roll family, and we would love if Nikki and Ashley can make it for the Chicago because that's where they live. So let us know if that can happen.
You can send the information. Yeah, that's cool.
The easiest thing to do is you go to darumamovie.com. Got all the show times, got everything about the film. I mean, it's incredible. John Lawson won Best Actor at Slam Dance, which is a huge, huge honor and award. You know, I was able to get the Christopher Reeve Award. And the film is really, you know, we're getting a little bit of headway and we're getting into the world. And thanks to guys like you, we're getting our community behind it. And our community is huge. It's strong. Over 20% of the population has a disability. And that's like huge spending power and influence on major companies.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's definitely. So let's get out there, you guys. Make sure check it out if you can get to one, watch it, and then virtually, if not, whatever you can do when it is coming out.
Now, how did you guys not become actors? Because you're both just wonderful, amazing, incredibly talented, and good-looking fellas.
I got to be.
Go ahead, Shawn.
I was gonna say I did with the rugby team when I was kind of new to rugby. We did an episode of My Name Is Earl, but as like background actors, like because they had a murder ball or a killer ball episode, they called it, and we got to be background actors.
That's how I got my SAG card was murder ball.
That's
Weeds.
I dabbled in commercials, so I like you, Toby. I have been on the big screen in a commercial for LA Times. Before the movie started, they showed an LA Times movie commercial, and a bunch of us were sitting there looking like we were painters. Not even close. We were faking. Obviously, you know the business, and you know no words were spoken, and saw my face. I was in the movie of the week with in a movie called Shattered with Kirstie Alley. I was an extra.
I remember that.
It was a Sunday night movie of the week, and we were supposed to just be a part of a support group, and Ali Sheedy kept staring at me, and I was like, yeah, of course. And when we were done, they're like, we got to go on to our next scene in this abandoned hospital downtown LA. And she said, I want that guy in our next scene, whatever it is. And I'm like, she just like, your eyes. So we had a scene where we went past each other. I was rolling and her friend was pushing her down the hallway and we passed. She would screw up the scene 6 or 8 times to say, oh, sorry. And every time we would pass back, she's like, oh my God, you are so beautiful. And I'm just like flesh, you know, and I know Leah's going to get a kick out of this. But after the end of the day, we were on the back lot and she said, I wish I can get you in my trailer. What I wouldn't do to you. And I'm like,
wow.
Why do I have to be paralyzed now and not get into this star trailer? She gave me a kiss goodbye, and I have the privilege to say I made out with Kirstie Alley.
Wow.
Bob. Toby is impressed.
I love that you have the best Hollywood story here.
And then I was in a movie of the week with the gal that played in Wonder Years, Winnie. So she had a.
You were with every guy's crush from that watched Cheers, and every guy's crush that watched whatever that movie was or TV show. I forget. Thank you, Bobby.
Yeah, you're welcome. So that's my start, and I figured like let's retire before it gets, before it goes down the direction I don't want it to. I got to just keep with that and live
Yeah,
on the
Bobby.
memory.
Well, I don't think I'll really have made it until I make out with Ali Sheedy then.
Well, unfortunately, you're not going to because she's already passed away, and so I got that right, and you don't.
Yeah,
So that's all I can
it'll
say.
never happen for me. I did get a kiss on the head from Mel Brooks, though. So
Hey,
Oh,
I will tell you, that's the probably one of the best ones. And if you
I'm
watch Daruma, I also well, I don't want to give too much away, but there's a uh, beautiful actress in that film as well. So yes, Abigail Hawke. She's on Blue
yeah.
Bloods. She's in the film, and she is incredible. We got Barry Bostwick. If you guys ever watch Spin City,
Well,
um,
oh yeah,
yeah,
the
and
singing
also
cop movie or shows. What was that called? The singing cop.
oh 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 the other film that I did.
No, no, no. That he did TV show. Didn't he do a singing cop like parody show?
Maybe because he did
Yeah.
Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Okay,
So
yeah. I'm pretty
yeah,
sure it's him.
yeah. But they're in the film, and Victoria, the young actress in this movie, is incredible, guys. Like she's just watch the film just to watch this young girl. She's incredible. Yeah. So and you guys are incredible.
Oh,
Live to roll having me on today.
no,
awesome.
we appreciate you coming on and telling, yeah, all your experiences and stuff, and you got Bobby to tell his scantily.
Bobby, it's never too late to get back in the water. You
Never.
know, maybe I'll do a movie where I can bring you guys in too, and you'll be doing a podcast, in the movie or
If
something.
they ever need some background, guys, where we're here.
We're right there.
That's
Exactly.
it.
Uh, so let's go back to getting roles and things like that. You started out, and now what is it like for as a disabled actor? And I don't want to, I'd rather just say actor for an actor,
Sure,
but
or like the acronym is PWD, right? Performer
right,
with a disability.
disability.
Uh,
Thank you.
but
Yeah.
as we know, there's 1,000 words to call 1,000 people, and I don't know. Am I a disabled actor? Do I have handicapped parking? I don't know. I don't know all the right terminology, but I do use PWD just because it's easier. Or actor with a disability, or disabled actor. I don't know. But I like what you're going with, just actor.
Yeah.
And my journey was this. Obviously I didn't plan on doing it. It was by happenstance, and then I altered and I said, let me explore this world and take classes. And I took classes, and I didn't. I had a really low expectation and reasonable standards. I said, it'd be great to be in an extra, within the first year or something like that. It'd be great to be in a play in the next year. It'd be great to star in a play, within a few years. It'd be great to like have a talking role on a show in a few years. Like, oh, in 20 years, if I was able to star in a movie, that would be awesome. Just like a really long understood. I never was like, I'm gonna get an Oscar next year, and the world's gonna discover me, because I'm not interested in the discovery. I'm not interested in a celebrity or any of that stuff. I just want to like do this thing that I have in me, and hopefully get paid for it.
The
Um,
art, the art of acting.
right? Yeah, just to be able to be someone else and explore some other world, and I understand it. I understand the psychology of breaking down the script and the character, and I hear the voice of the writer, and so I don't have a choice. I just feel like I have to do this. Um, but it is a struggle. You do not get paid a lot at first, and you're out on a extra job for 12 hours, and you can't leave. You can't go home. You're a prisoner to that film, and you have to suffer through the growing pains, hopefully, and you get little stuff. Oh, I got this extra role. Oh, maybe, next time I got another one where I got to say a word. Oh, but then I got cut out of that show, and then you get that experience, and then hopefully that leads to more words and dialogue and bigger parts. So I was very reasonable about it. I never necessarily saw acting as my career. I saw it as these are jobs that I get to do from time to time, until it really kind of took over, and I ended up, auditioning on a regular basis and getting a little bit of jobs that gave me a little bit of money and security. But then you got to balance that out with, benefits and medical coverage, and say no to jobs. I've had to say no to a number of things that other people, were able to
Because
take, could have
you would have
taken.
gone over your mark. You would have gone over
Yeah,
that you would lose some of your benefits, and it's
yeah,
like great right now, but I can't keep that.
sure, sure.
This is not going
So,
to
like,
continue.
if you take a regular job every month, it's going to exceed your thing. It's either got to give you enough to make medical coverage through Screen Actors Guild, or it's got to be not enough so that you continue to receive your medical coverage and benefits. Otherwise, you're in that area between, which is a scary, deserted forest, uh, or a desert out there, by yourself. Um, and so it is a balancing act, of me going, hey, and if anybody has questions about it, I'm happy to answer them. Like, you can direct message me and go like, well, hey, if I make this money, how do I blah blah blah? I can take a big job that might pay a lot of money for 1 month, you know, and then I that month doesn't work, I don't get the benefits from that month or whatever.
Right.
You guys kind of know how it works a little bit.
Yeah.
And so it's a balancing act in that sense, and also traveling. It's difficult, organizing everything. I mean, I gotta bring a caregiver with me, for the most part. So,
When
uh,
you're away from the LA area.
yeah, I mean, there's been times that I've gone and done plays when I hired somebody locally and I was gone for 2 months or 3 months. There's been other times when I was able to get my caregiver hired and bring them on board as my assistant, and that makes life a lot easier. Yeah. And then I also realized that I'd suffered a number of times by trying to be less work, less maintenance, right? I didn't want to come off as, oh, he's going to need everything. He's going to cost more, ADA, blah, 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 blah. I've always said every movie set, every TV set is accessible because cameras are on wheels. All the equipment's on wheels. They can build a ramp within 20 minutes just about anywhere. Like, I've seen what they're capable of if given the right direction. And for far too often, I'd be like, I don't need anything. The minimal, like an ice cube would be fine, you know? And then I realized after suffering a couple times, when it wasn't needed, that now if they go, well, what do you need? I say, well, what would you give to a baby snow leopard? Like, you know, just you got to keep it alive, keep it in a cool place, keep it well fed and hydrated and safe from other people, essentially. Like, so I realized that, it's better to inform because we're here to educate, and entertainment is one of the most powerful tools for education, and awareness. And if I can't do it on the set while I'm there and help educate a few people, then I might be missing an opportunity for the next person, right? I'll tell you, one of the easiest things that any production can do is get ADA cable covers. They just have ramps on either side. No one's going to trip over them. Anybody can roll over them. It's inexpensive, the easiest way to make a set affordable, accessible, and above. There's always an answer. There's always a rebuttal to whatever the excuse might be. Um, yeah, I mean, even for people trying to chase this dream of being an entertainer, there's going to be obstacles, and you just adapt and find your own way. We're our own experiments. We got 3 quads here, but we're all snowflakes.
Everybody's individual. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, um, we have a show on Live to Roll on Thursdays about aging with a disability. You were injured in '98. I see one or two gray hairs there.
Come on,
Um,
there's a lot there.
I only see one or two. So how is that starting to play a role with aging? Meaning, sitting long hours,
Oh,
sore, tired, um, your bowel, your bladder. How does that mix in when you are on set, and how does that, you know, how do
it's
you get
tough.
away with it in a sense? Like,
Tough. It's strategy, you know. I mean, I got to travel at certain times. I'm only going to book certain flights, for several reasons. I've figured out sort of the easier ways to travel and go to the bathroom if I need to. Um, Rooms, you got to make sure that's accessible. You got to get a shower chair ahead of time. I don't bring a shower chair anymore. What's the point? I'm going to buy a cheap one online and send it to wherever I'm going, use it while I'm there, and then donate it or something like that. Why pay the same amount of money to carry this big thing somewhere when I can ship it to the hotel ahead of time
mhm.
and have one there, hopefully waiting for me? But and if I'm only using it for a short amount of time, you know,
How
yeah,
about the when you're on set, in the sense that some of us were, pressure release, and
yeah,
I'm sure there's a lot of time in between where you're kicking back and you can do whatever and get make sure you pee, but
I
there's a lot
mean,
of times, if I remember correctly, in my acting days with Christy, it seemed like you're always like, hurry up and wait, no, yeah, no,
absolutely, you're
yeah,
stuck there for the longest time, and I mean, I do use the power chair for driving, for safety and all that stuff primarily, and so that has also given me some opportunities to play characters in the power chair, which is nice because when you're in it, it's just a reclining sofa if you need it to be, and that changes a lot of things. And now I can also request things ahead of time, like a massage table if I need to, or something. I've brought massage table to a set if I thought I was going to be there for a long time, or they'll have couches or dressing room, something like that. And as you guys well know, we got to kind of manipulate the crowd sometimes. And I get people to help me. I get strangers to help me all the time. People on set, help me all, just got to adapt and ask people to help you.
right.
I've been transferred countless times by complete strangers, and that's it. But I realize, I kind of guess, I go, well, I guess I'm sitting regardless, whether I'm sitting at home or whether I'm sitting on a set or whether I'm sitting in an airport or sitting in an airplane. Like, I'm just sitting. Like,
Yeah.
so
Some
then I
seats are
just
more
got to
comfortable than others.
strategically manage everything else, right? And just go like, how do I make sure I go to the bathroom on time and it's not in between scene, like in the middle of a scene. That's the worst when you're in the middle of a long scene and you're like, I gotta go to the bathroom right now. This, I guess, um, and that's the hardest part, honestly. Muscle spasms. I don't want to have a huge muscle spasm in the middle of. I've had huge muscle spasms in auditions and been like, well, there goes that one because they're not going to write that in for the character.
What
Uh,
what do you do in that case? Like if you have it like in an audition, do you just like, sorry, like explain it, or you kind of just roll through?
I think I've rolled through it and then afterwards have said, "Oh, I sorry, I had a muscle spasm in the middle of that. I can do it again if you'd like." You know,
Oh,
and
okay.
then they'll probably go like, "Yeah, it's fine, whatever. Don't worry about it." It's like, yeah, don't worry about it. We're gonna hire someone famous anyway.
Yeah, you're like, ah,
Don't worry, we got Brian on the call. No, I'm just sorry, Brian Cranston. I don't mean to be picking on you.
no, no. Um, UTIs dealing with on set, or
Tough,
any bowel issues on set. We talk about that. A lot of
sure.
us get UTIs, and I don't know if you're one of them and dealing with that while trying to work.
Constantly, UTIs are the. I've been self-catheterizing for 25 plus years. It's inevitable,
Mm,
And then as you get older, your hormones change, and you start adapting, going like, hey, that doesn't work. Why is this happening more? What's this? How do I, it's the experiment. We're constantly working on ourselves. We're our own Frankenstein monster. And I know more about my car than I know more about me, So, but yeah, it's just, if I have to make sure that I have an antibiotic with me, ahead of time, just in case, I'm doing that. Hydrating's tough on set. I just got to make sure I go to the bathroom and, you know, balance it all out, or have a resolution for it. I'll bring extra supplies when I go somewhere if I need it, and if I have a caregiver, then I'm okay, because worst comes to worst, I've got someone that can really truly help me. Yeah.
That's great.
But it's tough, man. It's not a lot. I mean, if it was just showing up and doing the words, that would be an easy world. If it was just that, but no, I gotta show up. I gotta make sure I'm early. I gotta make sure I go to the bathroom just before we film. I gotta make sure I do it just after we get off. I gotta balance it all out. But I've been lucky, man. Gotten to do my own stunts. I get to be in Daruma, my first starring film, alongside my great friend John Lawson. It's coming out soon, guys, and I get awesome people in my life like you guys who are pushing it and paying it forward. It's awesome. Yeah. It's really, like, I feel guilty. I mean, you guys every day are giving back to the community and doing something that helps else,
Well, thank you for that. Dang, which you said something very nice, and it made me forget a question I have. I know we're running out of time. Oh, I know what it was, because I've seen you perform live a few times, gone to a few of your venues to watch you perform. So, yes, Citizen, you were part of a band, and as you said, music was kind of before acting. Any music in your life, performing Citizen?
Unfortunately, not very much. I was very lucky. Right before the pandemic, I got to I was in the Oscar choir. So I was in the Oscars, and I got to be in the choir. That was an incredible experience. And I've gotten to put some of my songs into movies and TV shows and things like that, which is an incredible experience. But I sort of had to go, music is a late night waiting for drunk people thing. And it's a very tough world to try and make happen, and you got to be up late night waiting for drunk people, and I just couldn't do it anymore, and wanted to focus on acting. And now I've really also focused on voiceover, and that's another world that I've really been sort of just focusing on is voiceover work. And I've got a regular part on like a cartoon that'll be coming out next year, and I just got to do a great big guest starring role on a brand new animated Fox show, and have been able to do some audiobooks and things like that. So that's a world I love. I absolutely love it. And if I can't do music, then at least I get to express myself with these other kind of crazy fun things.
You definitely are leading that parallel life. Bryan Cranston, we've brought him up a few times, but he was a major voice in the Power Rangers. I don't know if you knew that, but he was one of the Power Rangers. The blue one, whatever his name was. But yeah,
that's
well, he was in the movie as well.
Was he? I didn't know that either. But yeah, Toby is multi-talented. Make sure I do have your personal Instagram as well in the description below. So make sure to click on Toby's Instagram to follow him and see all the cool stuff he's doing.
And reach out if you have any questions about the entertainment industry. More than happy to help, and I'm there.
That's awesome of you. Thanks everybody in the chat for definitely commenting and helping out with our chat. One question, Toby, that I can just ask you, not about acting, but about your gloves. Somebody asked about your gloves.
I was going to bring that up.
Yes. Okay. These are harness gloves. And I think if you go to Harness Designs, they're awesome. These are the day gloves, right? But you can see that they're actually kind of firm and hard. so I can slide things into the glove to use them for that. Although I'm in a power chair, you'd go like, "Why you got the gloves on?" For driving primarily, it just helps me like anything that I got to stick to. These things got a little bit of rubber on them. If you go to
Yeah.
Harness Designs, they also do racing gloves for a number of athletes in Paralympics. Yeah.
We'll get that link for you and put it in the description, right, Shawn?
Yeah, I can get that going. I'll look them up and do it after.
Yeah. I've been using them ever since I've been hurt. So at this point, I got Brazilian tan lines on my hands.
That's
Yeah.
I
Oh,
do. You did have those. Yeah, that's
I got
here you go.
bikini lines.
Here's my cycling tan line. It probably doesn't do it justice here, but
Love
every
it.
time the lady yesterday, I was getting a COVID shot, and she lifted up my arm. She's like, "Oh my god!" And I'm like, "Why? Well, what?" And she's just like, "Man, you are out in the sun. You might want to take off your shirt." And I just said, "That ain't happening. Not in public." I'm fine with my tan lines.
You're like, I don't want to cause any airlines to crash.
No, 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 no. Or any
I'm the
quad.
same way, Bobby.
Look at that
Same
quad.
way.
Yeah.
Also, Toby, I was gonna say, just shout out something Toby did over the weekend that I think is just super cool. Is he was on a panel for Daruma at Comic Con, so like they actually had it represented at Comic Con, and he was there, which I think is super cool. Was this picture from Comic Con? I was gonna ask, or was
No,
it?
this is actually from the Media Access Awards, where I was getting the Christopher Reeve Acting Award for Daruma.
Okay.
Marley Matlin was there and gave me the award. It was, I mean, incredible, incredible. And the Media Access Awards, I'm talking. This is like the Oscars for the disabled community, the disability community when it comes to entertainment. So go support them too if you can. They'll be happening very soon this year coming up.
We have approached our hour and then some. And one quick question from our good friend Olivia: how do you enter the discussion regarding able-bodied people playing disabled roles?
Yeah, it's a tough one. I get the ultimate goal, right, which is to raise funding or make money from this product. And so I get that you're going to go and get an actor and put them in there, but I think far too often it's just an excuse, right? I mean, the reality is this: like in the 40s, Harold Russell won an Oscar in Double Arm Amputee. They gave him 2 Oscars. One, because they didn't think he was going to win the Oscar, and they just wanted to give him one because he's got a disability. It's like an honorary Oscar. And then he ended up winning Best Actor, despite everyone's disbelief. And he had 2 Oscars. You know, in the 80s, Marley Matlin played a character with a disability, Oscar. And it
Coda.
seems like every 40 years, it takes 40 plus years for Hollywood to do the exact same thing, and in the 19, and I always say, if you're going to hire a big name to at least play this part, then at least fill the other roles with people with disabilities so that they can get credits, they can get experience, they can hopefully get to the point that that big actor is at someday, you know? And at that, and you know who was doing that in the 1940s? Stanley Kramer in a movie called The Men, where he took Marlon Brando and he made him the main character as a paraplegic, and all of the other characters that had a disability in that film were authentically cast paraplegics. And this is the 40s, and here we are, almost 100 years later, and no one's doing that. It's crazy, man. So it's mind blowing to me that that's still the excuse. And then also on a side note, fat suits, no, I'm not down for it. Don't be giving anyone an Oscar for getting into a fat suit and pretending to have a disease. Like, I'm not down for that either, because then you're taking opportunities from people. Like the movie Precious. If they would have done that movie, the movie Precious, and put someone in a fat suit, Gabourey Sidibe would never, ever be able to have a career and then be able to make a movie years later with three guys who were also faking being disabled in another really bad movie. Well, no, Precious was good, but the other movie is horrible. It stars three guys that have disabilities and they don't. And one guy goes out to the beach in his power wheelchair and dies by the ocean. And I can only think, how did he get out on the beach in his power wheelchair? That's all I can think.
Well,
Authenticity,
Uh,
inclusivity matters. Hopefully, Hollywood understands and realize they're going to save money and make money by casting guys like you and I.
yeah, that's
well
great.
said. Well said. And that is
Yeah.
great information.
And go to darumamovie.com.
And go to darumamovie.com. The link is in the description below. I also have the Daruma Movie Instagram if you just want to follow them on Instagram as well for some updates. And then the little link tree has also all the different links for the watch party and all that kind of stuff too. So make sure to check that out and sign up. All right, let's go. We'll thank the sponsors and do the shows, and then Toby, we'll leave you with like a final thought here for the episode, and you can share whatever you like, acting or life, whatever you want to, whatever you feel.
Yeah, I mean, listen, like I said before, guys, I just use metaphors. Love metaphors. I love the consolation prize. I love the opportunity to represent. And although none of us, we think inspire might be an ugly word, I hope I can inspire and motivate some people to go out there and get into this industry. And if you're an artist, go out there and just start doing your thing. Every year there is a thing called the Easter Seals Disability Challenge.
Film challenge. Oh.
People without any experience can go make a movie and can come all the way out to Hollywood to have their movie premiered at at a huge theater. So there's opportunities out there. We just need to flood this market with talent and people that are passionate about, authentic storytelling and inclusivity. So let's form an army and get out there and take more than just disabled parking spaces.
That's great.
All right, let me go ahead and thank our sponsors for the show. I want to thank Mobility.
Thank you, Shawn, Bobby. Thank you, Live to Roll.
No, thank you, Toby. We appreciate you being here and appreciate everybody involved in that movie because that's just cool that it's getting out there, and I love it. So representation is great. But yeah, thank you to our sponsors that keep us able to do this and share awesome information like this out there with you guys. Mobility Professionals is a DME in Southern California. So if you're anywhere in the Southern California area, need a wheelchair, commode chair, standing frame, anything like that, please give them a call. The information's down below in the description. They have great customer service and they will help you out. And then Urology Professionals is their sister company, and they're nationwide. So anywhere in the country, if you need your catheter supplies, they will ship them direct to your door. Just get in contact with them. They will help you set up everything with insurance. And again, all the information down below in the description, below all the Daruma information. So just scroll down a little bit and it's all down there. Make sure to check it all out, you guys. And we appreciate everybody watching in the chat, all you guys that are going to be watching after, and everybody that does follow and watch the movie. So make sure to check those out.
You kind of gave your final thought, but Jay said, love this episode. Always wanted to act. Real quick, in 30 seconds, if you can, Toby, how do we get into acting, especially if we're not in Hollywood or LA area here?
I'm going to say hands down the easiest way is that I told you about the Easter Seals Disability Film Challenge. Anybody can enter. It's every year. You can create your own film in one weekend, and it just has to involve disability in front of or behind the camera. That's an amazing resource. Obviously, the Christopher Reeve Foundation is an incredible resource for a number of things, including maybe might point you in some directions for that. And then the other thing is just get your local community. I mean, you got to find what's outside your door, and if it's not outside your door, just make it outside your door. I think the first class that I ever took that had that was filled with performers with disabilities was one that I created. So I just had a space and was like, I'm going to get other people to come do this thing and see what happens. And made some great friends at the very least through it. So there's a community out there. Go find it, become a part of it. And if it's not there, create it like what you guys have done. There was no Live to Roll before this.
Yeah, no, that's exactly. Just get out there and do it. Try it. You do. This pretty much exactly started from an idea, just kind of kept growing, and now we're here. So, and we actually were able to, when the Easter Seals film challenge was going on, we had two of the films. We kind of like talked to the people and kind of highlighted them and just highlighted the festival in general. So it's really cool to be able to do. And that is a great film challenge. I would definitely suggest to anybody that's the way to do it. So
it's a wheel small world. When you really get
we love the wheel puns that live to roll. So thank you. And real quick, a couple of shout outs. It was Bobby's birthday on Sunday. Happy birthday, Bobby.
Right, happy Bobby Day or happy after Bobby Day.
And then today's actually Tom's birthday. So shout out to Tom. He's not here. I would probably celebrate a little hard. And then in our chat, one of our good friends, Leon, who was on the show last week, his birthday's tomorrow. Shout out all three of you guys. You guys, birthday little trifecta here in this couple days. So that's cool. But yeah, thanks everybody for watching. Oh, and also, I didn't do the shows real quick. I'm not sure if Tom's on for tomorrow. He's been having issues. So we'll just go with Thursday. Bobby, Robert, and Luis will be on with another Rolling Over the Hill, talking some aging with disability. I think they may have a guest and have a fun topic to talk about. So
lifestyle and culture.
So tune in on Thursday at 3:30 this week. We're pushing it back a half hour. Bobby texted me earlier about some other coaching he's got to do. So
it's so funny that you can be affected by another hurricane of somebody in Florida that needs help with somebody covering, their session. And luckily, after COVID, the great thing of this online platform and everybody watching today is we can get online, and I still coach exercises. So I'm happy to cover for somebody that is going to have to hunker down and, pray a little bit.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Much love to all the people in Florida right now, for sure.
Yeah, no, definitely. Send all our love out there to everybody. Also, I wanted to just real quick, I was going to mention earlier, if anybody's looking for adaptive equipment, I'm about to apply for the Challenged Athletes Foundation. CAF grants just opened up yesterday. So check that out to apply if you're looking for any type of equipment out there. Just some information for you guys. All right, everybody. Thank you. Thank you guys all for watching. We appreciate you. We'll see you next week. We're actually talking some spina bifida next week with a good friend and another artist, a sculptor actually, that has spina bifida. So some really cool stuff coming up next week. Make sure to tune in, and we'll see you then. Live to roll, everybody.
Live to roll.
Thanks, guys.